Hey guys, this is Wayne from Make It Wayne, and I am back again with another video, and this time we're going to be talking about the SJY Horizon Closed. If you're not familiar with SJY audio, Jeffrey, or SJY, he's been around for the past few years. I think he just turned 22, honestly. He's a young kid. But he's out of the Houston, Texas area. He's been doing headphones since, I think, COVID, and he's released several iterations and several lines. He's had the Starry Night, the Umi, the Horizon, which was his flagship, and now he's done a closed-back version of his Horizon, aka the Horizon Closed. But all his headphones are planar. I think at one point he told me he was going to work on a dynamic driver, and he was like, screw it. So yeah, he's been a planar fanatic for quite some time now. I still don't know how magnets work. But his Horizon Closed is a low sensitivity and low impedance headphone. 89 dB and 11 impedance, or 11 ohm impedance. That does mean that you're going to need a lot of power to power these. I'm using a JDS Labs Element 3 Mark II boosted, and drives that perfectly fine. His Horizon open back actually was a little bit harder to drive and needed more power, but the Horizon Closed is a little bit more flexible. You have the ability to use it on a standard thing. I think I also used it on a K11 R2R, and balanced, it was perfectly fine. I still had a bit of headroom on there, but yeah, you're gonna need a lot of power. So that's your first warning. But overall, the Horizon Closed is a very good closed back headphone. There's no unboxing because I actually, the other two units were personal units, but this Horizon Closed, I actually was talking to Jeffrey at the end of SoCal Can Jam and was like, hey, would you mind if I took this unit and, one of the ones that he had at the music tech desk, and would you mind if I did a small tour of it? And my intention is to give you my fair, unbiased opinion about these headphones, and then I am going to be actually sending it on as a review unit. So suffice it to say, this is all my own opinion. I did not receive any hey, please say this, please mention that. This is all just my own opinion and my own take on the SJY Horizon Closed. The only thing I've really received was a measurement to kind of show how it measures and to kind of, provide that color. But otherwise, this is all my own opinion. I'm going to do a small, not unboxing, just kind of show the unit itself, but after that, we'll get into the sound. Okay, so this is kind of be a, not unboxing experience, but kind of a product tour. So this is the Horizon Closed. As you can see, there are the pads. The original Horizon was magnetic pads, so you could actually move them, but these are glued on, I believe, just to make sure there's seal. See the headband with the SJY audio. There is a comfort strap underneath that is leather. Kind of connections right there. And the Horizon Open actually used to have this as just a transparent window into the driver. Now there is kind of a CNC'd or 3D printed cup over it, and this kind of bluish, well, in real life it's purplish, and I think the video might show it as more being bluish in certain angles, but this kind of color shell. I think there's 4 different colors. The cups are fine. They fit comfortably. Clamp force is actually better than the Horizon Open. They slide up all the way to the top. My only issue with the Horizon Closed, and actually the Horizon Open, and at the Umi as well, is that they kind of just swivel. So, they kind of are free. It's not as bad, and once you're actually wearing it, it's not that big of a deal. But until then, that is kind of a thing with them. But yeah, that's the Horizon. You kind of also see there is a dual 3.5 millimeter underneath right there, and the cable it comes with is a 4-pin XLR. Yeah. So how do the SJY Horizon Closed sound? In one word, balanced, as all things should be. I honestly think the SJY Horizon Closed sounds very nice, balanced. It's got a warmth to it, but it's also a planar magnetic headphone, which means it has a lot of details that come out. Dynamics are, kind of varying a little bit. It's not going to perform at nearly the same level as a dynamic driver headphone with like macro dynamics. But overall, I think the SJY Horizon Closed sounds phenomenal. It does follow the Harman over-ear. Whether or not you like the Harman over-ear or not, it follows it. So that is, this is the measurement straight from Jeffrey. So, this is how it essentially sounds. I think that he's done enough to separate a little bit, and with it being a planar magnetic, I think a lot of warmth still comes through and a lot of detail, and the performance is overall very, very well done. So yeah, let's get more into it. So the bass on the SJY Horizon Closed is very fast, punchy, detailed. The decay is almost a bit too quick for my taste, but overall, with it being closed, there's a lot of energy there. There's a little bit of that reverb. It's not to the point where you're like getting a Fostex or you're getting a dynamic driver like a Focal or something like that. Like the slam is very quick. It's very punchy. It's satisfying. And I think it's a bit more boosted, or it feels a bit more boosted than how it graphs. So overall, it's a very pleasant presentation of bass. Me, I personally really love bass. That is kind of my thing. If you've read any of my reviews, that's the one thing I look forward to. And while planar magnetic, like IEMs, the bass isn't necessarily satisfying, on over-ears, I really enjoy it. It becomes very punchy. It's very just detailed and good quality overall. The quantity is there, but it's not going to be like the bass head type of headphone. This is going for more balance, again, following that Harman curve, but overall the bass performance is excellent. So getting into the mid-range for the Horizon Closed, everything comes off as very detailed, very natural sounding. Instruments shine in this case, so your classic rock, your orchestra, anything with a lot of guitars or string instruments, pianos, everything sounds very natural, very well presented. I would say female vocals are better than the male vocals in this case, and there's proper air. They never get too shouty. It doesn't sound thin at all. Male vocals also sound very excellent, very natural. There is a little bit of that warmth and fullness to the male vocal side, and I think that's probably from the close back. Like a little bit of that energy is in that reverb. So overall, I think the naturalness and how detailed the mid-range is a standout for the Horizon Closed. Most planars kind of have that energy in the mid-range performance, and I think the Horizon Closed is an excellent representation of that. So the treble extension for the SJY Horizon Closed is very clear. It's airy, it's detailed, it's elevated and energetic, never to the point where it's harsh or anything like that. It follows the Harman kind of curve pretty well, but he has a little bit of extra take on it, and with it being a planar set, I think any more elevation would probably get it to that point where it sounds like almost bright. It's never too bright sounding. It's very well balanced with the bass, and I think the treble is something that's maybe just north of being safe. I would never say it's like a safe trying to put treble. Like it's there. It performs very well. It's very well controlled. Never harsh, never sibilant, and you can actually bump up the volume of the Horizon Closed pretty high without having any issues there. The technical performance for the Horizon Closed is very, very good. The imaging and sound separation is top notch. Overall, like if you're expecting to hear something on the left side and the right side, like even in a busy track, everything comes off as very clear, very articulate, very detailed, and like exactly how you'd expect it. Macro dynamics are probably the weakest part of planars, and this is kind of a little bit above average as far as like that performance where you expect something to be very soft. It's going to come more in your face, but it's not as distracting as like some of the Dan Clarks, in my opinion. It's still, it's above average at this point. Soundstage is also good for a closeback. It's not going to be the widest It's not going to be as good as like an open back headphone, but the soundstage is pretty solid, pretty above average there. Really, the king of this category would be like the soundstage and the imaging and the separation. Like everything there is top notch. Like it's very well done. So for quick comparisons, I've listened to the Horizon Open for several months. I've had it for a while. The Horizon Closed, I've listened to the past month. I do actually have the Horizon Open currently on loan right now, but I've had it for quite some time. I'm quite familiar with it. If I was to summarize it in a few words, the Horizon Open is more open, more technical. The soundstage is a little bit wider. I think the bass is a little bit lighter on that side, so you get more of a neutral type of clean sound. The Horizon Closed comes off a bit warmer. The bass is a little bit deeper, punchier, and the soundstage is a little bit more intimate, but I don't think that's a bad thing. I think the playback is more natural sounding, and I think if you were to ask me which one I prefer more, I would prefer the Horizon Closed more. If I was to compare it to like some other like price point headphones like the Noirs or the Aria Organic, the Aria Organic is probably one of my favorite like headphones out there as far as like a planar magnetic goes, and I think the Horizon Closed hits very close to that. Aria Organic is of course an open back, so it's going to sound wider, and the closed back Horizon isn't necessarily going to sound that as bassy there, but it plays right in those, and it sounds way above its price point. A lot of people that have heard the Horizon Closed have really enjoyed it, and I think, gun to my head, if I had to choose between the two, I would pick the Horizon Closed, and I think it competes very well with its peers. So things to be cognizant of, or other things to be concerned about. You're going to want to probably make sure you have enough power to run the headphone. They are a low impedance and low sensitivity headphone. I think originally, like some of his other stuff were harder to drive. You need like speaker amps. In my case, I have the Element 3 from JDS Labs. It is a Mark II boosted, so it goes up to 2.3 watts at 32 ohms. I don't actually have to go to high gain in this case. I did have to in the open back variant. So these closed back are actually a little bit easier to drive, and they don't need quite as much power. It's still nice to have that though. On the K11 I originally had, I tried to use it on the Horizon Open, and I was actually maxed out without getting to like very good listening volumes. On the K11 R2R that I'm currently playing around with, on the closed back, I am on high gain, but I'm at like 55 out of 99. So there's still a little bit of headroom. So yeah, they love power, give them power, and they really do shine. Other than that, the form factor, I really wish the pads were swappable again, but that's just that is unfortunately not the case in this. It is glued on, so you can't pad swap. The magnetic pads were phenomenal. It was really fun to play around with on the Horizon Open. I hope that's figured out. I know the form factor is also kind of like, you're gonna love it or you hate it. Most people probably won't like it. I do know that Jeffrey is a madman and he's constantly working, so maybe he'll figure something out in the near future. Whether it's for the Horizon Closed or for whatever flagship he's working on, because he's constantly hustling. So yeah. So in conclusion, the SJY Horizon Closed is a very good closed back headphone. He's taken what was a very good flagship, top of the line for him, Jeffrey that is, and added a cup that looks a little bit different. You'll either love it or you'll hate it, and really reduced that sound leakage that was kind of like, oh my gosh, this is way too open sounding. And in doing so, warmed up the sound a little bit. Still keeps that clean, detailed, balanced sound, but warms up a little bit on the bass and the overall note weight, and I think it's an excellent release from him. I know he's constantly working, constantly hustling, so if you wait a moment, he'll probably have another release, or maybe he'll figure out the form factor and making it look way better. But as far as the SJY Horizon Closed goes, this is a very good headphone. If you're in the market for something in that 1K region, I think this competes with the Dan Clarks and the Hyphamens and all the other headphone manufacturers of the world that release the planars. This is a very good entry point, and I highly recommend it. As far as an out of 10 score, it's a 9.15, I believe, on my written review. And as far as a out of 5-star rating goes, this is a 4.5 out of 5. I highly recommend it. I really enjoy the sound, and if you're in the market, this is a good alternative to what everybody else gets. All right, thanks for watching. I'm Make It Wayne, signing out.